Hi, welcome to week 3. I hope you enjoyed the snow over the weekend. I hope it snowed where you are, depending when you are or where you are. You may be some distance away, and so it may well not have snowed for you. And if it didn't, I am sorry. It's been many, many years since we last had some decent snow in the southeast. So yesterday was quite a pleasant surprise, and I do hope you were able to get a bit of a refreshing break from everything that this term and 2021 on the back of 2020 has thrown at us all. What do I want to do in this week 3 message? Well, the first thing I want to do is just share with you the COVID-19 situation, which involves going back to the government dashboard, which we've looked at previously. So here we go. So this is the Reading situation, Royal Berkshire NHS Foundation Trust. You can see that there's still a significant number of daily admissions. It's flattened, so that's good news, but it's still, if you look at number of patients that are in hospital, it's still steadily increasing as of the last information that that we had. And the same goes for those on mechanical ventilation beds, so those in the deepest medical need. The more general summary that you get if you just go to coronavirus.data.gov.uk, this is the summary. The good news on 6.5 million close on vaccinations. And then the good news that indeed the number of cases are falling. So they've fallen 20% in the last week, and that's great, but they're still at 30,000. And now historical patterns, using the kinds of methods that you learn as an economist, will tell us that about 9% of these cases will become hospitalizations. So 9% of 30,000 is still just shy of 3,000 people likely to become hospitalized in the next 14 days. So that's not great still. And indeed, although number of patients is also falling as a result of the number of cases falling, the number of people needing to therefore be hospitalised is falling. But if there's an extra 3,000 coming in, well, that's still a significant number on top of the current levels, which are at about 4,000 a day, which is very high and high compared to the first peak, first wave as well. Deaths are still rising. This is the grimmest part of the pandemic, and they're up 10% in the last week as well. So what I do need to encourage you, therefore, is to still be observing the lockdown. The lockdown appears to be taking in effect, but it's something that takes some time. And so please do continue to observe the lockdown. We don't yet know as a university what the government's advice is going to be when it comes to post week 6. At the moment, we are told to stay at home until the middle of February, which is essentially the end of week 6 for us at the university. And we don't yet have any update on that as yet as to whether we'll resume some kind of face-to-face teaching in the second half of term. But as soon as we know, we will certainly be in touch with you. What else do I want to say? I do want to encourage you guys to be attending, if you possibly can, the online sessions, be they live online sessions or be they tutorials for your modules. Please do get along with them. Please do engage. Please do share your input. The thing to say about those seminars and those tutorials and those live sessions is they're one-offs. They're not recorded. You won't be able to watch them later on Blackboard. You'll be able to rewatch lectures later on Blackboard, but you won't be able to watch the live sessions later. We're not allowed to record them. So please get along to them. Please get involved with them as well. They're great opportunities to interact with the material and get to know the material better, and you'll be much better placed to do all of your assessments and final exams for your modules if you've taken all this stuff on board. Your recorded online material, online lectures, they're a fantastic resource because they are there and they're going to be there for you to pause, to listen back and so on. So please do make use of those as well. Watch them during the week when they're supposed to be there. Don't just put off watching them until some other time later in term. The earlier you expose yourself to this material, the more likely it is going to be to sink in and more likely that you're going to be able to make sense of it. So please do get involved. Please do be attending. Related, please do come along to conversations. Last week we started and we thought about the current state of COVID-19 and how it all fits together, and in particular we thought a bit about the health service. We ended with an open question on whether efficiency is the right metric for thinking about how a healthcare service works. But we're not going to carry on with that this coming Friday. Instead, we're going to turn and think a little bit about student fees and COVID-19 in light of RUSU and the NUS's campaign recently to try and get some leeway, some kind of rebate on student fees, given that the student experience hasn't been what you might have hoped for this year. I think it's important to talk about this as economists, because as economists, we do seek to understand the entire system within which something like the universities in the UK sit. We know that outcomes are some function of the way in which all sorts of different agents interact with each other. And in the case of universities, it's the universities and how they operate, but it's also government and how governments operate as well. And the funding basis for universities, as the University Executive Board's response to the RUSU letter made clear, is that our funding model is very highly based on student fees, and that constrains in a lot of respects the kind of response that we might wish to or might seek to make. So it's a really good thing to talk about that as economists. That's what we'll do on Friday. Please do engage, please do get involved. Remember, conversations is a really great thing when you're wanting to put things on your CV about doing extracurricular stuff while you're with us. Great if you're trying to get a placement, and if you are, please keep making use of Poneema and Tina and the team. If you're a first year or second year student trying to get a placement, please do make use of them, especially as you're preparing for video interviews and live interviews and so on. Tina and Poneema are not just there for your CV; they're there for the whole way through. And in fact, with Poneema, I've been involved in some meetings this week for students that are halfway through their placements. Poneema is very much involved all the way through, as is Tina. And so please do really make use of them. They really do increase your chances of getting a placement. Getting knocked back can be really disheartening, but it's unfortunately it's a part of life that you get knocked back when you apply for things. And the most important thing is to be resilient and to make sure that you're best placed to bounce back and get over that and get that great placement in the end. And the way in which you'll do that, most likely, is by really making use of the support that you can get from Poneema and Tina. So please do be doing that. I wanted to also ask you what you guys are all doing during COVID-19, because I've been becoming over the last few weeks increasingly aware of a number of you doing simply amazing things in the pandemic, being in the care sector perhaps, or some other part of the part of the response to COVID-19, and that's absolutely fantastic. And I'd love to know a little bit more about exactly how COVID-19 is for you, both if you're doing something fantastic, but also if you're not as well. Please do keep in touch. To try and end on a bit of a hopeful note, what does hope mean to you? There is a art competition. You might be a little bit confused as to why I'm mentioning it, but it's Foxhill Arts, and or it's the law department, and they have an art competition, Arts at Foxhill competition, and so I'm just going to share that screen. I just realised I've not stopped sharing the coronavirus dashboard, but now I will share the competition poster. And ask the question, which is, what does hope mean to you? Arts at Foxhill. Foxhill is that nice building up on the hill on the campus, and they're having a competition. Write a poem, short reflection piece, or use any other art form, photo, drawing, painting, music, film. The theme, hope. And my hopeful thought is always the same during the spring term, which is that we get more and more daylight every day. It's 5 o'clock and it's still not fully dark. We've already got at least half an hour more of daylight a day since term began, and by the end of term we'll have an extra as many as, let's think, 3 more hours of daylight. 4 more hours, sorry, by the end of term. At the moment, we've got about 8.5 hours of daylight, and by the end of term, we're going to have about 12.5 hours of daylight each day. And for me, that's hope. I love daylight. I love going out. I love doing things in the evening. I love being outside. For me, that's hope, is being able to do that kind of a thing. And of course, I think it goes without saying at the moment that there's a hope that the spring is going to coincide with improved situation with coronavirus, with the vaccine being rolled out, and hopefully restrictions loosening sooner rather than later, so that we can see family, we can see friends, we can go back to doing some of the things that we used to be doing. And so that's my hope at the moment. I've just now got to work out how to put that into a photo. I'm going to stop there and say I hope you have a great week. Please do keep observing the lockdown, stay safe, and keep in touch too, please.